Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, welcome to Basics of Noise and its Measurement. I'm Nachiketa Tiwari. This is the 7th week of this course, and this week we will be discussing an assorted number of topics. And today and tomorrow we will be discussing as to how to measure impedance using a different approach. Now, earlier when we had discussed the measurement methodology for impedance, we had discussed about a traveling microscope method, and the equipment was known as Kunz tube. One limitation of that method was that you need to have a long hole in the impedance tube so that the the microphone can travel easily along the length. And that creates problem because once you have to have a slot, and then because of that noise leaks and it is no longer planar and it distorts the pressure field in the tube. So to address these concerns, people have figured out a different way to measure impedance, and that is much more popular, and this is known as the two microphone method. And a key differentiator of this approach vis-a-vis the other approach is that in this approach we do not have a moving microphone. So both these microphones are fixed, and using the signals measured at these two locations, we are able to compute impedance. So that's what we are going to discuss today, the two microphone method. So first I will make a picture. So you have a tube, and at this end of the tube I have the sample. And I have to measure its impedance of unknown Z, which is its specific acoustic impedance. Okay. At the other end, I have a loudspeaker. So this is generating some sound. Okay, and I place two microphones. So this is M1, and this is the second microphone, M2. One important thing to remember is that in this case, this is my x is equal to 0, and conventionally we have taken x as positive when we move from origin to the right side, but here we will use this as positive x. The spacing between these two microphones is S, and the position of the second microphone with respect to x is equal to 0 is L. So my aim is to find the value of Z. What is known is the readings at microphone 1 and microphone 2. Because once I play the sound, I can record the signals at M1 and M2 locations. So readings at M1 and M2. So this is known, this is unknown, Z is unknown. So I have to figure out a relation in terms of the known parameters so that I can calculate Z. Okay, what else? This is my incident direction, which I refer as I, and this is my reflected direction, which I refer as R. Because sound, when it starts from the speaker, travels along the length of the pipe, hits this sample with unknown Z, and then it gets reflected, so the reflected direction is R. Now, if we go back to our transmission line equations, then Pi, which is complex pressure in the incident direction, is Pi hat e to the power of j. So j is square root of -1. Okay, j is equal to square root of -1 times kx plus phi1 times e j omega t. Now in the other original transmission line equations, the incident wave had a coefficient of negative j. E was to the power of minus j kx. But here I am putting it positive because my x direction is changed and positive x is moving in the left direction. So this is important to remember. And my reflected wave, so Pi is a function of x as well as t, and similarly Pr is a function of the same thing. So this is again some number Pr e to the power of minus j k x plus phi1 times e to the power of j omega t. So what I define as Pi bar is nothing but Pi hat e to the power of j phi1 times e to the power of j omega t. Okay, and similarly P r hat is equal to P r hat e j phi 2 e j omega t. So this is 1. So I am just defining this. So Pi bar is basically a function of time also. Remember this. I have not explicitly put it in brackets, but it is a function of time, and it also depends on phase phi1, and this depends on phase phi2. Oh, this should have been phi2. Okay. So if I use these, I plug this back into these relations, and what I also get is that so PR bar over PI bar, this is nothing but my reflection coefficient, because e j omega t cancels out. So this is equal to Pi hat e j phi 1, and actually I would actually make a small modification here. I think I made an error. So this should be minus k x plus phi 2. Okay, and then I have to of course multiply it by j. So this negative sign from here, it goes away. So this is equal to P r hat e j phi 2 over P I hat e j phi 1. That's my reflection coefficient. So if I use these two things, then I can rewrite my expression for P. So what I will do is, so this is my reflection coefficient, and then the value of pressure at M1 will be Pi if I calculate at x is equal to x1 plus Pr if I calculate the same thing at x is equal to x1, right? P1, which is at M1 location, it will be basically Pi at x1 plus Pr at x1, right? Similarly, I can calculate pressure at location 2 for mic 2. So I will just write down these relations. So P1, which is being calculated at location x1 and time t, is equal to Pi, which depends on x1, plus Pr if I calculate it as location x1. And Pi is dependent on x and time, so we can do this. Similarly, P2, which is being evaluated at location 2, is equal to Pi at x2 plus Pr at x2. Now I define a function h, and this is basically the transfer function. So that I define it as P2 x2t over P1 x1t. So what is it is a transfer function between two microphones. My reference microphone here is the first microphone, and with respect to that I am finding the pressure at second location. Okay? So this is equal to, and if I use these relations and also in the place of Pi and Pr I actually plug in the original things, then what I get is Pi E j k x2 plus Pr E j k x2, okay, divided by Pi E j k x1 plus Pr E j k x1, okay, and no, there should be a negative here and there should be a negative here, right? There should be a negative sign here. So this I can, now I know that Pr is equal to R times Pi. We have defined it here, this thing. So actually I should have put these bars on them if I had been more careful. So I will actually put these, right, so that there is no confusion. So if that is the case, and if I divide the whole thing by Pi, the numerator as well as denominator, then I get E j k x2 plus R E minus j k x2 divided by E j k x1 plus R E minus j k x1, okay. So now what I do is I look at this equation, okay, and now think about it. In this equation, h is what? It is the transfer function, okay. Can I measure this transfer function? The answer to that is yes. How can I measure it? I take the readings at microphone 1, I take the readings at microphone 2, and using this P2 over P1, I can get the value of h bar, right? And on the left side, on the right side, I have exponent to the power of j k. K I know, because if I send in a particular frequency, I know its wavelength, so I can calculate its wave number. I know the location x2, I know the location x1, right? So I know x2 and x1. So I know on the left, on the right side, I know everything except r, and on the left side I know h. So I can calculate r. Okay, left side I know h through experiment. Right side I know x2, x1, and k. So I can find r. So the relation is E j k x1 plus r e minus j k x1 is equal to E j k x2 plus r e minus j k x2. Okay. So I am going to collect things related to r on one side. So what I get is h bar E j k x1 minus E j k x2 is equal to r E minus j k x2 minus h bar E minus j k x1, right? And from this you can compute r, and r is h bar E j k x1 minus E j k x2 divided by E minus j k x2 minus h bar E minus j k x1. Okay. So the next thing is that I divide this numerator by e to the power of j k x1 and also the denominator by e j k x1. So what do I get? I get h bar, and remember x1 minus x2 is equal to s. If you look at this picture, this is x1, this is x2, so x1 minus x2 is s. So my relation becomes h minus e j to the power of k x2 minus x1, so it is basically e minus j s k. Okay, and in the denominator I get e, again I am dividing this new denominator also by e j k x1, so I get e j k s, and then minus h bar, and then I get e j times 2k L plus S. So what is L plus S? x1 is equal to L plus S, which we had defined earlier. This is L, x2 is same as L. Okay, so I get this relation. So this is my final form. Okay, so my final form is reflection coefficient equals h bar minus e to the power of minus j k s divided by e to the power of j k s minus h bar e to the power of j times 2k L plus S. So in this relation, h bar we can measure, S is the distance between two mics, and L plus S, and it also can be, it's also a property of the tube. So this is also, it can be measured. So if we are able to measure both of these, all these things, I can calculate R. And then we know that Z, which is the specific acoustic impedance of the material, is what? 1 plus r divided by 1 minus r times z naught, where z naught equals rho naught c. Okay. So I can calculate the value of z once I know r, right? So I know how to calculate r. There is one more parameter I can calculate, and that is alpha. This is known as absorption coefficient. Okay, so known as absorption coefficient. So what is absorption coefficient? Sound is coming in, some of it is getting reflected and some of it is getting absorbed by the material. Now whatever is being absorbed by the material, some of it will be transmitted out also. But absorption, total absorption energy will be what? Whatever is being incident minus reflected energy, incident energy minus reflected energy, the difference between two will be the absorbed energy. This absorbed energy will be partly converted into heat in the system and partly it will be transmitted on the other side. So this is related to energy. Okay, it's not related to amplitude. So my incident energy is directly proportional to amplitude of the wave, right? Not, but it's a square. Same thing about reflected energy, so the incident energy is directly proportional to the incident pressure waves amplitudes square. Same thing is true for reflected energy. So absorbed energy will be what? And this is coefficient, it's not the actual amount. So this will be nothing but 1 minus magnitude of r, because r is a complex quantity, so magnitude of r square. Okay, so that is your absorption coefficient. So it's not square root of that, because it helps us understand how much energy is being absorbed. So using this I can calculate absorption coefficient for the material. So what you have learnt here is how to use this 2 microphone method to calculate the impedance of an unknown material. And in the next class we will continue the discussion from the standpoint of some practical considerations and how you go around designing a impedance tube for these kind of measurements. So thank you.